Ayesha, it's January. You know what the theme of the month is?
It is all about goals.
Have you set yours for the year?
I started in December, and I started the easy way by putting together a vision board of what I wanted my year to look like. I always find that's an easier way to start because it's about what you want your year to feel like, your life to look like. And that can start to inform more tangible pieces like goals. The other thing that I do that's more at a high level is set 3 words for the year, which I've been doing for about 4 years. And that is determined by me assessing the year that's gone past and looking at all the things that I was lacking or not as happy with. And then that informs the flip side, which would be the positive word of what I want that year to encompass. And then that trails down into actual goals. So yes, some are still evolving, but yes, I have set my goals for 2026.
Are these your personal goals as a founder or are these business goals?
Both.
How do you differentiate between the both?
So I think it's, whilst they are very much intertwined because I am my business and my business is me, my personal goals are, say, around fitness. They are around the way that I sleep. All of this contributes to my performance as a founder, but they are my personal goals. I also have a goal to actually take some time off, to rest and rejuvenate. That's a personal goal. But again, that feeds directly into my business. Now, business goals would be separate in that, I want to hit X revenue within this year, or I want to close a contract with this company, or I want to launch a product. And those are very specific business goals. So I think that they're very different because one should be about your business performance and the other one should be about your personal performance and the way that you live your life.
For sure. I can imagine a lot of people coming to you. You work with a lot of founders, right? I can imagine a lot of these founders coming to you and saying, hey, I need to set goals. I do set my goals for this year. What is the first general mistake most of these guys do?
I think the first one is in the language there, need, right? No one should do anything from need. They should do it because they want to set goals for themselves. If they're doing it from, I have to do this, but I don't want to, it doesn't have the same energy of like, okay, I'm going to set myself some goals and I want some targets and this is where I'm going to head towards. I think that's a big thing. The second thing is setting goals that they actually want themselves. I think that's really crucial. Like, what is a goal? Why do I want it? Why do I want to hit that goal? Not because, and it could be because you're motivated by external forces that everybody's telling you you're going to fail. But you have to know how that pivots in your own mind to say, actually, I'm going to do this for myself, to give myself my own satisfaction that I can do this for myself. The noise is separate. So I think that's really, really important. And I think that SMART goals are there. So it's about having, and this really should be the rule of thumb for setting any goals, right? It should be SMART, which is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. That means that it's an actual, so a goal that says, I want to be healthy is not a SMART goal because there's no parameters around it. Yeah. You want to set a goal that actually has some data that you can measure the output of. Yeah. And I think that a lot of founders might set themselves goals, but they're so big that there's no action plan to them. And so they'll always just remain a goal because there's no first step, second step, third step. Like setting a goal is only the first thing that you do. And it is really hard, right? Yeah. Understanding what you want is one of the hardest activities that you do because it forces you to sit down with yourself, understand who you are and go, actually, this is what I really want. Yeah. And then another mistake that I see is that when you set a goal, you want it too badly. So it's like when you hold sand in your hand, right? If you let it sit, then it sits there. The more that you clutch at the sand, the more it slips through your fingers. And that desperate energy actually stops you from achieving the goals that you want.
Yeah. Could you give me an example of a good founder goal versus a weak one?
I would say something like this. I want to publish 3 pieces of content every single week consistently without fail. Right? You should focus on the things that are in your control specifically, not the things that you are expecting an outcome from.
Sure.
So let's say you want to acquire 10 new clients over the year. Okay. You work backwards. So the general rule of thumb in sales and business development is 10%.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a client every month, say, you need to be reaching out to 10 people and having 10 warm leads per month.
Yeah.
So you work backwards.
Yeah.
But you focus not on the output, but on what you can physically control.
Yeah.
Because if all your goals are around things that you have no control over, from the outset, you'll lose momentum and you'll start to feel frustrated and annoyed. And it's really because you haven't created the action plan of what you have control over in this entire journey.
Got it. So let me expand on that, right? I think the 10% rule is a very important one, but I think people don't use it to its most. Let me elaborate on your example, right? If somebody wants a client a month, that may be 10 warm leads, but people don't focus on, hey, how do I get those 10 warm leads, right? Just saying that I want 10 warm leads a month is not a goal, right? For you to be actually getting those 10 warm leads, you might want to reach out to you need to have 100 conversations. 100 conversations are probably a result of 1,000 people or 1,000 company outreach, right? So the goal has to be, hey, have I correctly identified the 1,000 companies? Have I signed out the right amount of outreach to get those 100 conversations? So I think that backtracking with the goal is super important, because the first level of execution is where everybody sort of just gets it wrong, right?
Absolutely. And I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine in Bangkok a couple of months back. And he said to me, do you know what you want? And I said, yes. And he said, tell me. And I gave him a couple of my goals and he said, they're just too big. They're so big that you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And that was a really good reminder for me. Okay. So what I do is maybe a little bit excessive for some people, but I think that it's a really good way of working out through the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
So I will set goals for the year. So first I'll have my 3 words of what I want my year to feel like. Then I will have my actual goals for the year. Then on a quarterly basis, I will set goals for that 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? And then off the back of that, every month, I will do a monthly planning of what I want to, all of my executables, right? So it's goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and then 5 executable, 5 to 10 action points that you can tangibly take. And I think that makes a really big difference, because then you're constantly going back. Otherwise, everything feels too big that you want to achieve, and you're not. There's a saying, right? How do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
Bite by bite, piece by piece. And the only way to achieve those big goals is to look at them on a step-by-step basis and go, okay, if I want to become a millionaire, for example, okay, and I only have $10,000 in my bank account, how do I progressively get to that point? Instead of going, oh, million come to me, like I'm attracting it, but not doing anything.
Yeah.
How about we turn that 10 into 50? And then that 50 into 100, and then that 100 into 200. And using that data on a regular basis and the steps of action is how you create momentum and keep the momentum moving.
Yeah.
And it's about what you have in your control. You know, your overarching goal can be to make this much money, but actually what does that look like in reality? That reality is X number of clients. So you need to know your maths behind it as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of saying, oh, I set this goal and I expect it to come to me, is the difference between law of attraction and manifestation.
100%. I think a lot of people just want to manifest the dreamy reality that they want, but not put in the right efforts, right? They'll set goals so ambitiously, audaciously vague that they themselves don't know where to start, right? Think about it. As humans, we set goals for ourselves. As founders, we are setting goals for ourselves. We're setting our business goals, right? How do you think one should operate with their team members' goals and their employee goals? How do you think the entire team member goals, employee goals to business goals and founder goals, how does that entire hierarchy sink in?
So I think there's probably 6 questions in there. So I'm just going to go through a couple of them. So the first thing is I want to differentiate between the law of attraction and manifestation. The law of attraction says that I'm going to visualize something and it's just going to come to me. Manifestation is that I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to listen to the messages and do the work of what I'm meant to do to get that goal. Right? And that's a really big difference. The manifestation is being almost shown the path if you quiet your mind enough and then following that path to enable it to happen. Let me give you an example, right? Last year, and I'd never wanted this before, but last year I set myself a goal of becoming a best-selling author. And I was like, let's just put it out there. Let's put it on the goal list. I don't expect it to happen, but it would be really cool if it did. And because I wasn't so like angsty about it and needed to make it happen or anything, I just kind of let it sit. I thought about different book ideas and it's okay. It'll happen in its own time. Then I joined this Facebook group, which is for people who are looking for a place on a podcast or people looking for guests. And there was this note from a woman who said, I'm putting together a podcast and potentially a book based on women's transformation stories. And I responded to it. I got chosen. I contributed to this anthology. And by July, I was a best-selling author in the US and Canada. With very little, I mean, I wrote a chapter. Okay, I mean, it was.
I've read it.
Yeah, which you read, and it was, it was intense to write it, and it took a lot of bravery to put myself out there. But the way in which it unfolded and manifested was something I could never have conceived. So there is a little bit of a fine line between being such a control freak over your goals and how they happen. Versus allowing the universe to deliver it in a way that you could never have imagined, because usually our little brains are so tiny we can't think that big, 100%. Right? But it doesn't mean you don't do the work, right? You still do the work and you follow the path of inspiration. And that's the piece that's important. Now, your other question about how the trickle-down effect happens, right? So you've got the founder goal, the business goal, and then the employee goals. Now, when a lot of businesses are in growth mode, they become less in tune or in touch with their employees. And the employees are what help you achieve your goals. And if you don't communicate your business goals with your employees, they don't know what the North Star is.
100%.
And vice versa. It's really important actually to speak to your employees and say, okay, tell me, what are your goals for this year? Give me your 3 goals. Rather than going, okay, this is what the business needs and I want you to do these things. If you actually listen to what your employees want to achieve, then perhaps you can put them on a project that you have in your mind that they have no idea about. And from understanding what their goal is, you can position them into that project, which they will work at so much harder because it's something that they truly want to do, which will help you succeed. So just listening and having that dialogue during an appraisal process, or actually just having a lunch and learn with your team where you go, actually, guys, right, you've got 15 minutes. I want you to write down your 3 business goals for the year. What do you want to achieve at work? It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be overbearing in any way. It can be quite simple. But it's
Do you
just
think a
about
lot of
space.
people lack intention in setting goals? I'll tell you where I'm coming from, right? A lot of people, do you think a lot of people are cognizant enough about who they are, what they want, and why they want it to set intentful goals as opposed to just borrowing somebody else's just because they sound nice or cool?
I think some people do have an idea of what their goal is, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
It's very kind of vague,
Yeah.
right? And they think that that's enough. But actually, having something more concrete that has a bit of color makes it a lot easier as something that you feel like you can achieve. And there are, yes, absolutely. There's a lot of people who have goals that are dictated by society, culture, family, like getting married when you don't want to, for example.
Yeah.
Right? It's you're ticking a box. Or having a child when you're like, really? Is this what I really want? Like, and I think it takes a lot of self-awareness to go, is this what I really want? So that's where I think it's very important to look at every single goal that you set and ask yourself, why? And is my why based around my ego, or is my why based around something I truly want?
Is that the only litmus test a person should have to gauge if a goal that they're setting for themselves is purely something that they intend to achieve or something that they are just forcing themselves to achieve just because like the outcome of that would be practically theoretically a good life?
I think the litmus test is it's about self-awareness, right? It ultimately comes down to self-awareness. The reason why founder goals and business goals should be separate is because you as a founder have to be very clear about the life you want to live.
Yeah.
Right? If you really want to live a life where you're traveling around the world and you're an employee who can't move from their desk, then you're at loggerheads with your own personal goal and your business goal, or your employee, like as a, your career goal. It's the same thing, right? If you specifically want to buy a house and settle down and whatever, you're not going to get a mortgage if you're a founder suddenly, right? So you've got to be really clear about what your life goals are and whether they fit with you starting a business, running a business, etc. Like, and if they're at loggerheads with each other, then both are going to end up suffering.
Yeah. Let me build on that, right? We spoke about specific goals, we spoke about vague goals. Have you seen founders set incorrect or wrong goals based on, let's say, the stage that they are at in terms of their business and their own readiness in general?
I think I've definitely seen founders set goals that they've seen other people achieve. And they've kind of gone, oh, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad in itself. But I think you also need to have the why and the how, right? I'm not saying you have to have the how completely mapped out, right? On one side, you've got the energetic attraction. And the other side, we've got the practical execution. And somewhere in between is where you walk. I think that, say a founder who's just started pre-seed, who says, I'm going to reach unicorn in a year. I think it's nice to have that goal.
Yeah.
But I think if that's the only thing that you're focused on, you're not focused on actually creating a business that grows and thrives and delivers excellent service, you're like missing something in between, right? Yeah. I think it's about focusing on that value that you're giving in order for that growth to happen. And so it's about the alignment of an intent, or like somebody deciding that I'm going to raise funding this year, but I don't have a fully mapped out business idea.
Yeah.
It's like a napkin, but a half a napkin.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to give me money for this. Okay.
You need proof.
Yes, exactly. You need your POC. We need to see that you've got some substance. And expecting somebody else to come in and solve all your problems, I think is one of the biggest mistakes that I see. Like goals based around just fundraising rather than actually let me think about everything in my control. This goes back to the way that you set goals, right?
Yeah.
Set goals that you have in your control, the things that you can do and execute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And once you focus on that, then you're constantly creating value. And from that value, the rest comes in and is effectively manifested.
100%. I think, just to take on that, right, I see a lot of founders who are in denial of the stage of the business that they are in, right? How does one course correct or question the right stage that they are in terms of their business, the product, whatever they're building out, right? And how do you calibrate your goal to that stage?
So this is a really good one. I've spoken about this before, where people want to be rich. Okay, I want to be rich. What does rich mean?
Yeah.
What is your number of what you want your net worth to be? Okay, that's the first question.
Yeah.
What is the number? And what is your number today? What are your assets and your liabilities?
Yeah.
Right? What's your revenue? And then it becomes a data-driven exercise. I know founders that haven't looked at their figures in years. They just don't look at the numbers. And you can't operate from a place of never looking at the numbers, because then how do you achieve the next? You're basically getting into a car and you're driving and you're like, I'm going. Where are you going? You're going to run out of petrol. Where are you going? I'm driving. I'm driving. I'm having a really good drive. Where are you going? It's really important to know where the hell you're trying to reach. But also, okay, I want to drive, 2,000 kilometers. I have enough petrol for 500. What am I going to do when I run out of petrol in the middle, right? How am I going to refuel? And then how am I going to get to my next point? So actually, let's plan the different stops on the way, and then I'll have a jolly, right? So I'll go my first 500 miles. I'll maybe have a rest. I'll figure things out, recalibrate. Do I still want to go to that place? And it's exactly the same thing.
For sure.
With your goals and figuring out where you want to go to.
I think I'd want to quote Chris Williamson out here, right? I was listening to his podcast the other day. He literally said, you don't rise to the level of your goals, but you drop down to the level of your systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to have the infrastructure in place to support yourself, right? And if the infrastructure isn't there, then no matter how much you want to run, you can't. It's like if your health isn't on point, okay, and you want to work 18-hour days. Not that we are in any way supporting that methodology, but if your health isn't, how are you going to do it? Right? Yeah. So you have to have your systems in place. You have to have your foundations. You have to have your, your people, your processes. How do you scale without there being issues or without there being extra money? Or, you've got to start, you have to constantly think about your operations, right? On a regular basis. What are my operations looking like? How does this work without me? If my head needs to be in a different place, then who can take care of the rest? That's probably a good one back to you as well. Like, how adaptable do you see that founders are in changing their business goals?
I think being super honest about it, every founder at the beginning of the year is going to chalk out those ambitious, audacious, somewhat measurable goals at the beginning of the year. February, everybody loses track of that, right? If I'm really being blunt about it, business momentum, subject to the markets, subject to any new innovation that's happening, subject to clients, nature of businesses you are servicing. Each one of these aspects can change, flip on their head, or can just have a eureka moment of their own, right? One should be comfortable adapting their goals. But that only happens if somebody is cognizant enough about what's really happening in time to really understand that, hey, if I really push through this momentum and push hard on the goals that I've set, which are against the tide based on what's happening in the market, I am actually going to I'll end up creating a very worse situation for my own self and my own business. So I think very evidently people should, especially founders and entrepreneurs, should be open to adapting their own goals. Considering that business goals and founder goals are also linked to a very good extent, right? Let me ask you this, right? How does a founder really look at adapting their current goals? Let's say the years in the middle, you see a large, let's say you see a different tailwind in a certain direction and you see a tide turning in another. Your business needs a little bit of course correction in terms of your targets, in terms of your goals, and also largely a direction that you'd want to take, right? You've spent a certain energy, certain amount of time, certain amount of resources doing things in a certain way. What is the mental framework that like a founder especially has to be in to really tap into this?
This is where it comes down to reviewing your goals on a monthly basis, right? Like being really self-aware about what's going on. Being self-aware about, okay, these were the big goals. This is the quarterly goal and this is the monthly goal. And where am I at? And if you get in 3 months and you're not progressing anywhere, okay, so is it because I'm being lazy? I don't believe in the product anymore. The market fit has changed. Then you revisit it. That's the whole point of having that whole system, right? Is that you have that monthly fluidity of going, okay, where are we at? Every single business pivots. Every single business pivots.
Yeah.
Or you walk out of things that aren't the right thing for you. It is okay to say, this isn't working out for me. I don't like the partners that I've got involved with. I don't like the investor. This business, it's not right for me anymore. My values have changed. And it's much better for you to actually go, I want to walk away, than you wasting months or years of your life. And it's just about making sure that you're constantly self-aware about what's going on with you. So at a worst case, on a monthly basis, you check in and go, okay, where are we at? Does this goal even still make sense for me? Because sometimes we set massive goals and they don't feel achievable. And if that part of us feels like it can't achieve it, we're resisting it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better to set smaller, more achievable goals.
Yeah.
And if we interrelate, right, the founder goal and the business goal, it's important for you to feel like you are making progress. So as a founder, you can have very small goals, lose 2 kgs, go for a facial, go for a 2-day trip, like whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But you can have those small goals because you can achieve those. And every single achievable goal gives you momentum towards the bigger goals that makes you feel more powerful that you're able to do it. Even if that's, a lot of us set a goal that, we're going to work out 7 times a week and we've started with nothing. How about we go, okay, I'm going to work out twice a week. That's it.
Yeah.
You achieve that and then you make it bigger. And you incrementally push it forward. And then actually, maybe you have something that actually, I don't really like this. I'm going to do something else. So I think it's just that constant check-in, number one. Number two is having the incremental progress so that you feel like you're doing something.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going back to the same point. Focus on the things that are within your control.
Correct.
Because otherwise, you feel like you don't have any power.
Correct.
And that does have a domino effect in everything else in your life. Especially your business.
For sure. And I think in time of January, right, where we are right now, let's say everybody set their goals.
Yeah.
Each founder, each entrepreneur is ready with their goals. How do you pull up your sleeves, pull up your socks and just like get into it? Is there a framework that you usually look at, something that you follow to just get into the mode of focusing and getting shit done?
Yes, it's a monthly goal set. So mini goals for that month. And then breaking it down on a weekly basis. So, okay, these are the goals for the month. How do I now break that down for this week? And then there will always be those things that linger, right? The ones that they keep eating away at you, and you're like, I know I need to do this, or I know I should do this, but I'm not doing it. So it's really about asking yourself at the end of that week, why?
Yeah.
Like, why am I blocking myself on this? What am I afraid of? And it's usually a fear there somewhere, right? What am I afraid of? And why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
Because there will be something, and that is your golden nugget. Because if you know it's something that really needs to be done, and you're not doing it, there will be a fear holding you back. Or it's something that you've set yourself that you just don't want to do. You just don't want to do it because it doesn't align with you. And that's when you know you've set a goal that's in line with the Joneses or somebody else rather than yourself. And then these are the ones that you remove. Or it's one for your ego.
Also, probably something that you set for yourself which you resonated with, but you've adapted, you've grown.
Yeah. And we grow massively. Yeah. There is no growth quicker than that of a founder.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep on your toes, to keep moving, because it's lonely and it's difficult and it's like it can be so frustrating and exhausting and you cry yourself at night and all these things, but it's also liberating and it's creative and it can be whatever you make it to be. And so I think it's about just constantly keeping that in check with yourself to know, right? Does this work? Have I changed as a person? Do I not need to stroke my ego in this space anymore? If I just let it go because I accept myself more now, or I've achieved something in a different way that means this box is ticked. And the one thing actually is really important that I don't think enough people do. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important to do it for the end of the year, but also do it on a monthly basis. What did you do? What did you achieve?
Yeah.
And we forget just how much we achieve.
Yeah.
All the time.
100%.
So many things that we achieve.
100%.
And we just keep forgetting them. We only focus on the things and the gap of the things that we haven't touched and the things we haven't done.
Yeah.
But what if we just, on a weekly basis go, okay, I made that call that I really didn't want to make, but I did it anyway.
Yeah. I
hit the gym. I watched my diet. I had that talk with that employee that I really didn't want to have, but I did it. This person that's a really cool brand got in touch with me and I really want to work with them. Even if it doesn't work out, it's really cool that they got back to me, and that is like a positive reinforcement that then carries, again, energy and momentum. Yeah. But ticking off the positives is so crucial in this.
I think it boils down to the same founder thought process, right? At the end of the year, we'll probably be able to say hey, I've achieved 10 things, but you'll be able to say 10,000 things that you've not been able to, while in reality, you may have done 1,000,000 things, right? It's the smaller things, which again, as you said, give you the positive reinforcement, but also things I think should be celebrated, should be focused on, should be paused on to really say that, hey, I did it. Yeah. As small as it can be, as big as it can be.
But right? I did it.
100%.
I made that happen.
Yeah, because a founder's life is literally building and making something which is technically just a dream or a thought in his or her head, right?
And the goalpost will always keep moving. It never, ever stops. There's always another goal, right? That's why you have 3x, 3 people with 3 exits and they still come back and build, because you always, you get addicted. You get addicted to keep moving forward. Yeah. So it's really important to go, okay, I did this. I actually achieved this. Oh, I actually achieved that. Yeah. And it's something that I often forget to do. Mm-hmm. But I'm committing to doing that this year, is to have that on a weekly basis of this is what I did. Yeah. Because there is so much that we forget. And just the way with a child, right? You reward them when they've behaved really well. Yeah. You reward them when they did a beautiful painting or got a gold star at school. We're just kids inside, and we need to keep giving ourselves the gold stars to say, well done, you did it. Reward 100%. Yourself.
100%. I think we'll end the segment on this, right? Cheers.
Cheers to celebrating the win. If you're enjoying the content that we have here and enjoying these conversations and finding them useful, then please do subscribe to Founders Hub.